Hello everyone. Let's look at this question together. There is a big farm in the midstream of a river. In the diagram, the water in the river flows from the left, then flows past the farm towards the right. 3 water samples, A, B, and C, are taken from 3 different locations along the river respectively. Then, 2 properties of the water are analyzed. They are the amount of algae and the amount of dissolved oxygen. From the graphs, we can see that both properties change as the river flows past the farm. In Part A, you are asked to explain the change in the amount of algae in the water samples. Let's take a look at the graph about the amount of algae. The graph shows an increasing trend. There are relatively little algae at A, and there are more algae at B. At C, after the water has flowed past the whole farm, the amount of algae has increased even more. Why does the amount of algae increase as the water flows from A to C? Let's take a look at the farm. The farm is built across the river, and a few types of crops are grown on the farm. To increase crop yield, farmers usually apply large amounts of fertilizers to the soil. But there is one problem of using fertilizers. It dissolves in water very well. So, when it rains, or when the crops are watered, the water can carry the fertilizers into the river. As a result, the algae in the river will also grow faster if they absorb fertilizers from the water. So, as the river flows from A to B and then to C, the amount of algae in the water increases. So, to answer Part A of the question, we need to write: fertilizers from the farm promote the growth of algae, so the amount of algae increases from samples A to C. Next, in Part B, it is given that a large number of dead fish is found at downstream of the river. You are asked to suggest 2 reasons for the death of the fish. Again, we have to look at the information above for clues. Let's look at the graph about the amount of dissolved oxygen on the right. It shows that the amount of dissolved oxygen decreases from A to C, and the amount at C is very low. Why is the amount of dissolved oxygen so low? This is because the large amount of algae consume a lot of dissolved oxygen, and the fish dies of suffocation. Apart from fertilizers, the sewage from the farm also contains microorganisms. Some of these microorganisms may be harmful to the fish and can kill them. So, we can put down the 2 suggested reasons as: 1. The algae use up oxygen in water. The fish could not obtain enough oxygen and die. 2. Harmful microorganisms in farm sewage may kill the fish. In Part C, a sewage treatment plant is built to treat the sewage from the farm, before the sewage is discharged into the river. The treatment process involves sedimentation, filtration, and adding chlorine. You are asked to determine if the water obtained at C is suitable for drinking, and explain your answer. Let's consider which components of the sewage each of these methods remove. If you recall what you have learnt in this unit, both sedimentation and filtration remove solid impurities. These include soil particles and leaves of crops. How about adding chlorine? Chlorine can kill some microorganisms. Does this mean the water obtained at C is suitable for drinking? Unfortunately not. This is because sedimentation and filtration can only remove insoluble impurities, and chlorine only kills microorganisms. But the water may still contain soluble pollutants. For example, fertilizers which dissolve in the water, and pesticides sprayed on plants to kill pests. So, drinking water obtained at C could be harmful to us.